In July 1863, the invading Confederate Army under General Robert E. Lee clashed with the Union forces of General George Meade in a small town in Pennsylvania. The two armies fiercely clashed over the fields, orchards, ridges, and hills surrounding the town for 3 bloody days. After a final disastrous Confederate frontal assault called Pickett's Charge, Lee retreated across the Potomac and never invaded Northern Territory again. A shocking 51,000 men lay dead or wounded on the field of battle. While the Battle of Gettysburg was important to the outcome of the Civil War, perhaps its larger significance came into focus with a 272-word speech by President Abraham Lincoln months later when dedicating the new National Cemetery for the interred soldiers. In early November, Lincoln received an invitation to say a few appropriate remarks from David Wills, the cemetery organizer. With so many presidential duties related to the war, Lincoln was hesitant, but finally accepted about 5 days before the ceremony on November 19th. He wanted to honor the battlefield dead and console the living. He sat at his desk in the executive mansion and started drafting his remarks. On the evening of November 17th, Lincoln spoke with the landscape architect who designed the cemetery layout. The president wanted a feel for the place and to understand the larger meaning behind its design. He also planned his trip to Gettysburg for the next day so that he had time to trod the hallowed ground where the soldiers had fought and died. On November 18th, a presidential train pulled out of the station. Lincoln had a copy of his rough draft, but the politicians and reporters on the train and the crowds assembled to greet him along the way prevented him from working on it. He arrived in Gettysburg in the early evening and rode a carriage to the Wills house where he was staying. He had dinner with several notables and then greeted visitors for an hour or two. He was serenaded by cheering crowds and bands all evening, and finally delighted them by saying a few humorous words. He retired to his room to work on the draft. He met briefly with Wills for more inspiration, and later with Secretary of State William Seward to review his speech. Lincoln rose early in the morning and toured the battlefield on horseback to get a strong sense of place. The large crowd welcomed Lincoln and the other dignitaries warmly. Renowned orator Edward Everett gave a powerful and sweeping 2-hour speech tying Gettysburg to the grandeur of Western civilization. President Lincoln then delivered some of the most moving words in American history, reflecting on the cemetery, the war's purpose, and the American creed. Lincoln started with the past. He pointed back towards 1776 and the aspirational ideals of a free society and the Declaration of Independence. He famously began fourscore and 7 years ago. Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. He altered the Declaration's self-evident truths for a proposition. He believed equality was in fact a universal principle, but it was being contested. Men were fighting and dying, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. Lincoln then moves to the future and asks for a sacred promise. The living have a great task remaining before them. They must be here dedicated to the unfinished work, to the cause which they so nobly advanced and gave their last full measure of devotion. That cause was the cause of self-government, making liberty and equality a reality for all. But Lincoln cautions his audience with poetic cadence. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, consecrated it far beyond our mere words, that the world will little note nor long remember, he says humbly. Lincoln moves to the future. He asks for a sacred promise. The living have a great task remaining before them. They must here be dedicated to the unfinished work, to the cause which they so nobly advanced and gave their last full measure of devotion. That cause was the cause of self-government, making liberty and equality a reality for all. That sacred pledge is to preserve self-government for posterity, for the world. That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The next day, Everett sent a note to the president acknowledging the greatness of his speech. Permit me to express my great admiration of the thoughts expressed by you with such eloquent simplicity. I should be glad if I could flatter myself that I came as near to the central idea of the occasion in 2 hours as you did in 2 minutes. 77 years after the Declaration of Independence, the Civil War was putting its saving principles to the test. 700,000 Americans died in the contest over their meaning. In the middle of that war, Lincoln spoke poetically to the American people. His Gettysburg Address expressed the central idea of the occasion, but more importantly, it expressed the central idea of America. He explained that the war had a purpose: to save self-government so that all might enjoy liberty and prosper in a free and equal society.